head. I'm like, oh shit, he's talking.
That's the way most people are when I talk, so
Yeah,
it's okay. It's
I'm like,
okay.
'cause I'm missing something.
Hey, let's take just 1 second before we jump headlong into Zombeavers and some other things that we want to talk about, and say, very, very happy birthday to Miss Tina, one of
Yes,
our longtime fan and supporters. She has been fantastic to us as a community, if you will. And I noticed that she had a birthday the other day, and I felt really, really remiss that I didn't have the opportunity at the time to say so. But happy birthday, my friend.
happy
Hope you
birthday.
had a wonderful, wonderful birthday.
Indeed, happy birthday, Tina. She's our Tina Mutant Ninja Turtle.
She is that. She is absolutely that. Alrighty. So, anywho, I'm trying to get. For some reason, my stream deck just went down on me. So if you see me clunking around here tonight, that'll be
What's
okay.
going
We
on?
don't have to have it, but it makes it a little bit more
It's
more
nice.
useful. So, how's life going for you, Mister Chris? How's
Uh,
things going, sir?
I will say just a couple things. Adulting is overrated.
Is
Would not
much.
recommend.
No, it's really funny because when we were children, right? We couldn't wait to be 16, and then we couldn't wait to be 18, and oh my God, I can't wait to be 21. And our parents literally told us, "Hey, slow
Bullshit.
down, right?
Yeah.
Slow down, enjoy your in." Man, were they right? Oh my God, were they
Enjoy
right?
your elementary years. Enjoy your teen years as a teen. Yeah, just that moment in Billy Madison where he grabs the little kid and he's like, "Never grow up,
Yeah,
stay
it's
young forever." Like
it's so true.
they take away nap time. You don't get snacks in the middle of the day unless you go out and buy them. It's ridiculous.
So as to not go into too much detail, so everyone's aware, I have been dealing with a little bit of health issues. Everything's under control, nothing major going on. But I trust me, because I just saw that Miss Chantel says, now all we want to do is nap. I've been doing that a lot lately. So, and Greedo says he's a recycled teenager.
Right.
So, real quick, Chris, who all do we have in the room tonight?
We've got a hop and chat already. We've got Greedo in a speedo. Thanks for stopping by. Shanti from Pop My Culture, one half of Pop My Culture. Some say the better half, not this guy. She's,
Nah,
with
I
her,
know them both, and I like them both, but I don't know if I'd say better.
I don't know, Josh
Just
is
different.
butt, man. It's the
He is a
same.
good-looking man.
He's a good looking man, damn good looking man. Everyone needs their own personal Magnum PI, and that is our Josh from Pop My Culture.
I will accept that explanation wholeheartedly.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. But thanks for stopping by, Shanti. We've got LG wielding the blue wrench of power. You step out of line in that as our talking dead, and she will put you in timeout. And
Yes.
we have the lovely Maureen. Hello, Maur. She's
Hi,
in our chat.
Mar.
Of course, our Tina Mutant Ninja Turtle, happy birthday. And Scott from Use and Abuse is listening while he's playing video games. Thanks for hanging in there with us.
Absolutely, Scott. We appreciate you so much, sir. Just so you guys are aware, we did have to take last week off. Everyone's, I'm sure, you were all sitting at home, rocking yourself in a corner in a fetal position, crying because you couldn't be here. Um, but we, again, adulting sucks. We both had things that we had to do that way, and that uh, uh, situation, so to speak. Excuse me, one moment, please. I need to get one of those little mute buttons whenever I have to cough. Um, so we had planned on covering Zombeavers last week. So hopefully you all took the time to the extra time that we allowed you to go ahead and watch this movie, because it was a free watch on Tubi, a close friend of mine. Actually, he has not stopped in tonight, but he's planning on being here. He literally said, "Hey, I heard you guys are doing this movie. Where do I get to watch it?" I told him. He literally within 2 hours sent back, "Oh my god, I was laughing so hard I thought I was going to fall over." And that's what this movie's about. I mean, um, I will honestly say that I don't care for most of the people that are in the movies or in the movie. Um, but I do indeed love um, the beavers themselves. I love the non-special special
The
effect.
practical effects were spot on
They were.
for
They
this, but
really were.
as ridiculous as it was, you know, the little RC boat beavers are that just that stole my heart.
Oh, and when they look out in the night, you see all the little eyes, which you know are nothing more than little light bulbs, and every time you see a beaver, Greedo, in this, every time you see a beaver, you know it's a hand puppet.
Oh
Uh,
yeah,
and it's not a great one, so, God, I loved it.
yep.
I loved it.
What a fun movie. But I did skip over. I saw Hunter Armstrong in the chat. I must have scrolled too fast. So thanks for
Aw.
stopping by.
Thanks, Hunter. We appreciate that, sir. Um, Rex Lynn is in this movie, and he plays the. Okay, so every horror movie has that character that is like, he's going to show up, he's going to be the creepy one, you think he's going to be or she, depending on the movie, he's that guy that's going to warn you about what's coming or whatever. And while he didn't really warn them what's coming, he was like he's the hunter that right, so he's going to
Right.
be the saving grace.
Smith with a Y.
Yes, and I'm going to tell you right now, if you guys don't know who Rex Lynn is, well, hold on a second. Let me. I can do this. I know I can.
You could do it.
I can do it. Now it may take me a moment, but I can do it. Um, he's one of those actors that you just know.
In TV, he was in everything.
Yes.
80s, 90s. Uh, yeah, just about everything. Down to an episode of Unsolved Mysteries. He was, one of the reenactment people.
Yes. And I'm waiting on my computer to catch up with me here. Do, 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 do. I promise. You ever have one of those days?
Yes, most days.
Anymore, no doubt. Well, where'd you go? All right, open. There you are. Uh, H for Hunter. Oh, there he is. All right, so it'll take just a second for it to bring it in for us, but this will bring us in so you guys can see what this man looks like. And I'm going to tell you right now, it's hilarious because he's one of those guys. Again, you may not ever really know his name, but you're as soon as you see him, like, oh, I know this guy.
He was in, yes.
That
The
he
answer to
was in
that is
that
yes.
thing.
He was, yes, late 80s, 90s, in all the things, it seems like.
Yeah, there we go.
Great character in this movie. He's,
Fantastic.
of course, the judgmental local yokel that's, I see girls in some bikinis and you better cover up.
You
All of
mean
you.
oh, what was funny okay, so one of the actresses who's actually been in a lot of good stuff, Courtney Palm, she uh, as soon as they get to the cabin, she's the first one that's going to be getting naked, right? It's a
Right.
girls' weekend. She's wanting to sun herself in the sun and all that kind of stuff. And yes, Greedo, he was
Yes.
in Rush Hour FBI. You're absolutely
Got
correct.
it.
So again, one of those faces that as soon as you see him, you know who he is. Anyway, so Courtney strips down to breastises,
Right.
which of course gives the movie an extra half star automatically
We
because
start right off with a half.
they were nice enough. You might want to give it a full star, but we'll discuss that later.
We'll talk.
Um,
We'll talk.
and she's standing here, covering herself like this as she's talking to Smith, and he's got his gun. He's talking like
Uh,
this. He's like,
Dip a jaw in the
yeah.
cheek.
It, it is funny. He goes, y'all might want to cover up. There's kids around here,
Yeah. Oh, my friend
I,
just lost
I
her top in the lake. No, all of you showing your midsections.
showing your bellies. Robert put
Yeah,
it.
always one of those guys.
So you're thinking to yourself, okay, he's going to be, this is the way they introduce him. So he's going to be the creeper.
Right.
And he winds up being just the hometown nice guy who's trying to help him out. So he was a lot of fun. Ubalto, thank you for coming in. We
Absolutely.
appreciate you, sir. Um, we, he says he's still killing
Yeah,
zombies.
man. I like the sound of that job.
Yeah, yeah, no doubt. So uh, I had never really heard it put this way. But when you were doing your description, which by the way, I loved it. The short that you filmed was so great. But talking about Zombeavers and how the people who were bitten became beavers.
Beavers.
I loved that description because I had heard, of course, we all know what werewolves are, and we've heard of cats,
Right.
but never beavers. And this movie gives us a treat to where that not only do the people become beavers,
So
but
do all the animals.
we get a bear beaver.
Get a werebear beaver. What in
And
the hell?
what the? Even the actresses were like, "What the
Is
hell?"
there honey on this truck?
So, all right, so we're jumping all over the
Yeah.
place because we're kind of excited about
Oh,
this
yeah.
movie. But let's go to the very beginning, which introduces us to an unnamed, I believe he's unnamed in this movie, who actually steals the movie with one line, and that is Mr. Bill Burr.
Absolutely.
Chris, let's let them know what happened here.
We've got these. Obviously, they're driving a truck full of toxic waste,
Of course.
toxic goo, if you would, and it's Bill Burr and what's the other guy's name? I was looking him up earlier. Uh,
Well, I just closed him down.
Mayer, uh, John Mayer.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. 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 John
He's
Mayer.
a mustache man in the passenger seat, and they're driving down the road, and of course, they're talking, have some interesting conversation here, where, I was gay once, it was great. You want to go to a ball game? Yeah. You want to go get a beer? Yeah. It's just the
Yeah.
sex, man.
It's really funny because that's literally like what it was like. It was literally like, hey, we know we were down at the bowling alley or whatever, and the next thing you know, he's like, well, I dated a guy once, and he's and
I
Mayor's
kind of
character.
feel like that would be my part. I kind of feel that way about it was only one time.
It was only once. It's like, hey, I did it once. Don't ask. I'm not doing it again.
Right. So they're driving down the road and having some conversation, and Bill Burr brings up his phone, and he's goofing with his phone, and there's Luke in the passenger seat. You see that deer? Bill Burr. Yep. See that deer? Boom!
No,
Smashes into the deer.
so here's my favorite line. He goes, see that deer? He's like, Bill Burr's like, yeah, yeah, I see the deer. And John Mayer goes, I don't think you do.
I don't think you do. Boom!
and, and
Smash. Nope. Didn't see the deer.
and when he hit it, it exploded into a fine mist.
Oh yeah, it's a mess.
Oh, it was horrible. It was horrible.
And of course, this jostles everything in the back, where one of the kegs, if you would, of toxic goo gets chucked out of the truck and down into the waterways and starts the long ride down the waterways to find a dam or a beaver lodge
Hmm.
and spring a leak, spraying the beavers with toxic goo.
Yes. And uh, it's spraying a good mist of 2,4,5 trioxin.
Right. Pretty much. Pretty much.
For
Or
those
a
of you who
some
don't,
sort of derivative of.
yes, and if you don't know what that is in the chat room, shame on you.
Check it out. Yeah.
Go back to our Return of the Living Dead
Right.
review, and that'll catch you up.
Yes. It's always toxic waste. It is, Tina. It is always toxic waste.
It
It's
is.
no good. Never let two goofballs deliver or store or come in any. near
You know,
proximity to
no.
toxic waste.
Again, refer back to the Return of the Living Dead.
Right. It's another example, the first example, some might say, of what not to do with toxic waste.
Agreed. Agreed.
So of course it's check the foot. And meanwhile, we got our two idiots in the truck. Check the back. Everything's back. I'll go check the front, and it's a smear of deer on the
A
highway.
smear of deer. Good way to put that.
Right. And comes back. He ain't gonna make it.
He's definitely not gonna make it.
He's not gonna make it. And so they just put it in drive and take off.
Just leave it there. So they, at this point in time, don't even know or care that they've lost a barrel that is now spraying its toxic goo all over the beaver's home, and and this is where we get introduced to our heroines of the movie.
Our heroines, if one could say that. Yeah, that three. I use the word friends loosely because as the movie progresses, these are not your friends.
No,
Just not your
no,
friends.
and I love the line when Courtney Palm is talking about or Zoe
Mhm.
is talking about Jen, and she's like, I've always hated her.
Yeah, right. And so you've got the goth girl, the emo girl, if you would, and the black stockings, and the very gruff girl, as far as her attitude. You've got what seems to be the brainiac, that is putting this together, going to their cousin's lake house, and you have poor Jen who just broke up with her boyfriend because apparently he was cheating on her. And this is a girl's getaway to the lake, or
Yes,
so they think.
no boys allowed.
No boys, no cell phones. Put it away.
Hmm.
Which is another funny line where she makes this whole big thing about no cell phones. And then they get there, and Zoe comes out with, "I can't send a text."
Not
And
even
she's
one.
like, "Not even one. You said there'd be no service and no cell phones, but I still get to text."
Well,
Oh,
and I love the fact that during that exchange, it starts with her screaming in another room. So you're of course in a horror movie, you're thinking, "Oh my God, what happened?"
darkest right away.
And she comes running out with her phone, and she's like, "I can't even text."
Right. It's a
Oh,
tragedy.
it
Um,
is a tragedy.
so yep, they're there to I guess you know give her friend some time to heal the wounds, I guess, and spend some time with the ladies,
Some quality
um,
time.
some quality time at the lake. We're gonna be swimming. Let's go check. Which is another great part where it's like, do your cousins throw trash in the lake? No. Well, why is that giant raft, or why is that giant block of wood out there?
Yeah.
That's a raft, you idiot. You
Yeah.
go out there and sit on it. So,
So bad.
oh,
So
it's
bad.
great. So yeah, so of course they're settling in into the lake, and they go out and do some swimming. Um, they see, what's that over there? Oh, it's a dam, you know. Oh, I want to go see a beaver. Never seen a beaver, blah blah blah. And we start swimming over there. Um, can't really get to it, so they decide they're all going to get out and go look at the beaver lodge because
Right.
that's where beavers live, not at the dam.
Right.
And of course, our beaver lodge is covered in green goo that they believe to be beaver pee.
Yeah. When they're like, "I don't- that's gross, beaver pee."
Because they find it all over the dam, and they're like, oh, and they're like, okay, well, it's the dam. It's not like they're peeing all over their house. And they go to the lodge, and it's all over it. Okay,
Yes.
fine. Beavers pee on everything. Um, so yeah, we don't get to see any beavers, even of the animal variety.
Yes.
And
Which is really what we're talking about here. Okay, so I
right,
know that Gap and Pop My Culture heard us talk about Zombeavers. They thought it might have been an X-rated movie, but it's not.
right, right. No, well, here's the part where, you know, right off the bat, Zoe, when they're going to the lake, she's skinny dipping. She's taking the
Hmm.
top off, and they kind of resign to the fact where at least she left her bottoms on. And so she's out there bare-breasted, walking around, and this is where Smith with a Y shows up with the gun. Tell him not to be messing around with beavers because they'll get you.
Yes, they will.
They get you, and they're most active at night. So, and of course, she's trying to cover herself up, and we have that interaction with him, that you better clean yourselves up. There's
Right.
children around. Um, so of course they go back to the lake house. They're done swimming for the day. Um, and that's where we start hearing some spooky stuff. Maybe we get a horror movie showing up,
Yeah.
some bangs and some knocks,
And we're
and
thinking, oh, ooh, something's going on. Something's going on.
right, because you've gotten a little bit of that Evil Dead camera view of down close to the ground, sneaking around.
Okay, so let's talk about that shot for just 1 second, if you don't
Hmm.
mind. Um, when they showed that, and it was literally the camera sliding through the grass,
Right.
I was laughing so hard because I was like, they have just went like different level with not be- or being cheap,
Hmm.
um and I was there for it 110%.
It works. It
Um, and
works.
and and this shot right here is just for the men in the room, just so you understand. Um, this is Zoe. She's the one that is
She does not disappoint topless. Let's say
no,
that.
no,
Yeah.
no. She yeah, it was like, oh,
Pretty lady.
okay, okay, we'll we'll
Okay.
we'll take that.
Nice.
So
So yeah, so they're of course Zoe is the more macho one of the group and decides,
yes,
grabs a flashlight, I'm gonna go check it out. And the other two are like, what are you, crazy? Like, we're in the middle of nowhere. We met this really weird guy with a gun, and you're just gonna go running out there. And
yes.
she goes running out, and they hear some banging. The other two girls, Jen and Mary, and they go outside to try to find Zoe because they can't find her. Come to find out, Zoe went and invited all the boyfriends, including the one that cheated on Jen.
Uh,
And the boyfriends show up.
so this is the point in time where once we meet the boyfriends, right? That I have decided that none of these 6 characters are worth a shit. I don't like any of them. I don't know why why they I don't know if the director literally said to them, "Hey, listen, we're making a movie called Zombeavers." Right? And most of our Zombeavers, if you will, are gonna be hand puppets, and it's gonna be, our special effects really are not gonna be very special.
Right.
So what we're gonna do is we're gonna lean into the fun part, and we're not gonna care whether or not anyone likes you at all. As a matter of fact, we'd prefer they didn't, so they'll be rooting for the Beavers.
Right. The
Um,
only one that has any sort of redeeming quality is our man Tommy, the one that's dating Mary. Um, Other than him being the dumb jock kind of type,
yes.
hasn't done really anything to truly turn us off. Other than he's a dick, obviously, um, because of his company.
Yes. And this is where you look at each one of these characters and go, the movie Cabin in the Woods taught me who each one of you are.
Absolutely, absolutely. Although I will say that this movie does like to shoot slightly lower angled shots through the
Yes.
movie because we're not going to miss that innuendo.
No, none.
The
None
entire movie,
whatsoever.
we're not going to miss it.
Nope.
We get interaction back and forth. So of course, Jen is upset. The boyfriend that cheated on her is now here. His two friends, which are dating her two friends, are here. Zoe and our man Buck, which I can't help but like Buck because of how dumb he is. Just a box of rocks.
So
Um,
so s Buck to me, okay, so you everyone I'm sure in this room has seen one of the Scooby Doo movies, right?
yeah,
He is discount Shaggy.
yeah, yeah. Wish.com brands,
Exactly. It's like
absolutely.
I was looking for Shaggy, I got Buck,
I got Buck. He'll
and I
work.
can't return this guy.
Right? Yeah. There's no returns. There's no warranty. He's kind of broken.
Mhm.
Yeah, and of course, he's there. It's like I haven't had sex in 36 hours. Like what did you expect me to do? So of course, him and Zoe immediately go off together, and our guy Tommy and Mary do the same. They go off together. and
Right.
we're left with Jen and her cheating boyfriend sitting together, and they have this phrase where, like, well, I don't think it can get any more awkward than this, but it does. Because Buck is having a great time with Zoe in the back room, and the stuff he's saying, "You're too hot for me. I don't know why you're with me."
Yeah.
It's just, yeah. If you've got friends listening to that kind of stuff, very awkward. So they sit there
So
while all
funny.
their friends are having sex.
So funny. So funny.
It was good.
And again, it goes right back to me saying that they really did decide to lean into the silliness of this movie. Um, my problem is that during this stretch of the movie, they almost lost my attention.
It was
Um,
close.
Not the first time. The first time I watched it, I was into it. I was invested.
Right.
But up until the point in time that we actually get to see the beavers, which is coming very quickly,
Right.
um, I'm I'm watching it this time going,
Right. Get to it.
because
Where are we going?
I'm gonna fall asleep.
I want a beaver.
Yeah, give me some beaver, damn
Give me
it!
some beaver. I don't care what kind it is. At this point, we're in a
Just give me some.
Zombeavers movie, and I want to see some Zombeavers.
Yes,
So
and
we get that.
yes, we do, and she is in the first zombie beaver we see is in the bathroom. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
I couldn't remember if it was that or the kitchen.
Yep.
And oh my god, oh my god, LG, I know you're in the chat. And I know that you've definitely seen this. What was your reaction the first time you saw the hand puppet that is a zombiever? Because if it was anything like mine, I was laughing so hard, and I was cheering for the beaver.
Right. Get her.
Right?
Get her.
Like, son of a bitch, no one likes her anyway.
Right.
Um, sorry, I didn't mean to step on you, Chris,
Oh
but
no
that
no no
is
no no! It's hilarious.
it was like I was having so much the gore and everything was done so cheesy that I immediately felt when I saw my first for me, okay, Bill Barth and his conversation with Luke at the beginning,
Mhm.
and then the first time I saw the Beavers, that is what solidified this movie as one that I was like, yeah.
This is good because this beaver's just flopping away and
And it sounds
those are
like
the
they're
sounds
using
it
like
makes.
the sound effects for the beaver. There's times where it actually sounds like they're using like big cat sounds. It's like,
Right, yeah,
I
or
mean, it's
it's
just
just some
great.
guy going it's so ridiculous.
It
And
is
it's
ridiculous. I
flopping
love it.
around in the tub, and I'm glad we get the outtakes at the end of the movie because there's a
Oh, I am
spot where
too.
the beaver sits up in the tub to look out the edge of the tub. And in the outtakes, it shows up, and the beaver's like, with its hand flopped out to the side, like, yeah, and rah, 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 and they're like, oh, the hand. Oh, they got to move the puppet because it just looks so goofy.
Oh, it's so funny. So it's one of those things where even though you didn't care for these characters, you have to give them some kind of credit because what they're acting against. And these girls are screaming their heads off, and they're and all this stuff, and these guys are doing the same, and it literally looks like something you would buy at like Spencer Gifts.
Yeah,
That
you picked up a stuffed animal and made it so its mouth moves and its tail moves and it's got blood and some weird milky eyes, but it's a non-articulating puppet
it's great. It's
and it
great.
works
Oh, it's
so
so
well.
fun.
So of course, the men come and dispatch of the beaver with a baseball bat, somehow severing it in half. I'm not quite sure how that worked, but
Beat it to the point that it broke it almost in two.
right. And they put it in a bag and throw it outside and, save the day. We got the beaver.
Right.
It was just a bad beaver. It's just a beaver. You
It's
know,
just a beaver, just a bad beaver.
you know,
Yeah, who knows?
crazy. And they said, boy, they're nasty and they come out at night. Said it would get us. So we've taken care of it. Now we come back to the whole like the guys sitting there like, oh, we should have a safety orgy or something.
Yeah, we could have died, and I want to be sure that that you all know how much this would help us all stay safe.
Right. Come on, Jen, free the dick. Come on. Hell is happening
So bad.
here. Of course that doesn't happen, and you know, and we get a moment where Mary is talking about how she's worried about her friend Jen.
Right,
Um, and so you have that kind of still going on in the background, like, oh yeah, poor Jen's there with the boyfriend that cheated on her, that's still trying to hit on her, and
right.
obviously isn't getting the fact that you know you're in a picture with somebody,
Yes.
and we don't know who that is or why, but obviously he did something. Um, so the next day comes, and fun at the lake. It's a weekend of debauchery, and sex, and we had some sex, and now it's time to just let's go play in the lake.
Right.
And because of our scare with the beaver, Jen decides she's not going to get in the water. She's just going to suntan in her jean jacket up on the up on shore. Not quite sure. The jean jacket doesn't even come off when she actually does get in the water.
Yeah.
Um,
Anyway, choices.
right. Um, our two guys, Tommy and Buck, are goofing around in the water, messing with each other. Um, Zoe's in the water with them, and we have Mary and the cheating boyfriend, Sam, on the dock, and we find out that Mary's the one that's in the picture, and with the boyfriend,
Yeah.
who
So our smart girl, right?
smart girl. She's a hooah. And she's the one that's cheating on cheating on her boyfriend, and he's cheating on his girlfriend, and nobody knows anything.
Yeah. No.
So we've got that tidbit. Um, Meanwhile, our idiots in the water are having fun, goofing around. Mayor John or Jen is freaking out because something brushed past her when she did try to get in, and Buck goes under, and
Yeah.
everybody thinks it's still part of the joke until blood just
Blood's everywhere.
comes up to the point where, like, is that blood? Like, oh no. And Buck comes back out of water with his own foot. Hey, Duffman.
I love the fact that we have new people in the living. Just in case you didn't know, Duffman, anyone else who happens to be here tonight for your first time, whether you've input a chat or not, just simply by being here, you are a member of the Talking Dead. Welcome to the family. Thank you.
Welcome.
Appreciate you. Thank you so much for coming in. And be sure to interact with us and let us know what you think about this ridiculous little
This
film.
ridiculous movie. And I'm just gonna say, up to this point, I'm finding this kind of fun. Like, now we've turned this into
Mhm.
some fun stuff. They everybody gets out of the water, onto the dock, onto the floating raft, and poor Buck is there holding his foot.
Yep.
They figure out we got to try to tourniquet this. Oh, here, take my bikini top. No, it's too small. We get this life preserver for the dog and strap it to his leg, and uh, to stop the bleeding. And but they're stuck because now there's zombie beavers, uh, swimming around this dock. Like, they're trapped. They can't get
Yeah.
out of the water.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. They're swimming around this dock.
Well, maybe there's a propeller underwater that helps them float through at pace. um, it's great. It's so dumb, but it matches the style that they went through with the movie, so it makes it fun on how
Yep.
stupid it is.
It literally looks like they took the hand puppets that we were talking about how cheesily made they were before and put them on top of a remote control boat and just floated them through the water.
Yep, this is damn true. You see those things with the jokes on YouTube with the guy with the alligator motorboat,
Uh-huh.
behind somebody. That's basically what we've got. They're trying to figure out a way to get to water, but every which way they go, the beavers are there. They're trying to come through the floor of the raft. They're trying to get up. They're kicking them, which is some great scenes of punching and kicking and of these zombie beavers. Till finally Sam decides, screw the dog. I have
Yep.
an idea. and picks up this. I mean, honestly, this dog has already peed on everything in the house.
Exactly.
Nobody really cares about this dog except for Zoe. Loves the dog, and he takes the dog, throws it in the water. Right on cue, Zombeavers take off after the dog, and I think his name was Jack. Is no more.
Yes. Yes.
They take their that moment to escape from the raft to get back to shore, um, fighting as they go, carrying poor Buck who can't walk because he's missing a foot and losing a lot
Which
of
is
blood.
a which was unfortunately the best special effect of the night, and it was bad.
It is. You can tell it's like what you would buy at Walmart for Halloween.
Yeah, and not only that, but also the actor kept dragging his heel, and you could tell.
You
That's
can
exact
see.
'cause it's oh, it was
You
so
can
funny.
see. You can see.
Oh,
It's great. Of course they fight the beavers back to the lake house and they get it back to the house. They set Buck up on the couch with his foot in a bag of ice, um, while he's still tourniqueted, uh, and they decide to board up the house, um, which is great because after everything has been nailed shut with slats of wood that they can find from everywhere, um, we come to the realization that they're beavers and that beavers eat wood.
yes, and that was my thinking when he was like, "Oh, we gotta nail it." I'm thinking to myself, uh, "Did she just say she read something about she knows about beavers and
Right.
beaver, wood, teeth?" Mm.
Right. Oh, I didn't realize you were a Wikipedia.
So bad,
uh,
so bad.
so they're trapped, and of course the beavers are encroaching, which they just keep coming from out of nowhere. We started with a beaver, um,
Mhm.
then we have two beavers, and now there are a lot of eyes. And
Oh,
through the movie, it just keeps doubling, and you don't really see, other than like towards the end, like now we're starting to see more beavers, but there's all different size eyes in the woods that are looking anytime we see towards the woods.
and I love how they did that effect because it was so cheesy,
It
but
was.
so fun. It's pitch black. You can tell that they're like hiding in the trees,
Yeah.
and
And every time, every shot, it's like, cue the one in the tree. Chew the one on the ground.
Grr.
It's
So,
awesome.
oh my god, so good. Hey, real quick, I need to interrupt and put a quick pin here and pause this. Don't forget where we're at, Chris. Just so everyone's aware, I'm so excited to announce to you guys that we have a new sponsor this
Oh, new
week.
sponsor.
Yeah,
Sweet.
2 weeks ago, we showed you a little thing about from Chester, and his almost world famous barbecue and crematorium,
And
which I thought was a
crematorium.
really interesting
Running some
combo of
great specials.
right, great specials. But they talked to some friends of theirs who own a company called Circle of Life. It is a um, uh, birthing center and mortuary. So, if you guys don't mind, well, let's just take one quick second and just hear from our new friends.
Welcome to the Circle of Life Center. Because life is full of surprises, we've got you covered from cradle to grave. Are you in need of congratulations or condolences? I am told life begins here.
True, but life also ends here,
We offer a happy place to bring your bundle of joy into this world.
as well as a somber place to wish loved ones goodbye.
Farewell to my dear friend. The Circle of Life Center was the right choice for you. And me.
At the Circle of Life,
That's twice tonight I've had a video skip on us.
Right.
So I don't know what that was all about, but literally, I love it. They said that they have you covered from the womb to the tomb.
Right? The Alpha
So
and the Omega, the beginning and the end, they've got you. And thank you for being our brand new sponsor.
we appreciate you so much, folks at the Circle of Life. So we'll be sure to get that video taken care of, and we'll show that again as soon as we possibly can. Rumor has it that they may be teaming up for some specials with Chester as well. So as
Oh,
soon as we know something about that, we'll bring that to everyone's attention too.
yeah.
Um, And just so you're aware, I'm thinking seriously about putting together a couple of Circle of Life and Chester's t-shirts for us
Nice,
on our
nice.
page on our fan page. So we'll look at that
Nice.
and see. Uh,
Great. That's
ah,
awesome.
anyway, appreciate everyone being patient with there while we showed that. And then so at this point in time, basically we're on full blown beaver attack.
Yep. We got to figure out how to figure this out. We got to figure we got to get help. And they come up with hatch the plan that Tommy's going to go. Now, while this is all happening and all of the pandemonium, Zoe is very upset over losing her dog
Yes,
to Sam, and
which I would be
decides
too.
perfect timing to let the cat out of the bag. Mary was the one in the picture with Sam. Blurts it out. It's now out there. Jen's best friend was the one behind her back, sleeping with her man, and let the world burn.
Yeah.
Is her feelings on this. So of course there's some crazy stuff, and like I said, our poor guy Tommy is just collateral damage here. His girlfriend was cheating on him. Jen's boyfriend's cheating on her. He's not as annoying as Jen, so like I said, redeeming quality. Decides I'm gonna be the one to go out and save us all, and take the car and go get help, and you know I'll save us.
And he really was the only redeeming factor,
Right.
because um he's Chris Hemsworth,
Yeah.
right? He's that character from Cabin in the Woods.
Yes.
And so eh, but I still didn't like him, and I tried. I just try. I really did try.
Oh, well, you don't have to worry about it too much longer because as they get down the road is blocked by trees. He's out there with Zoe,
Yes.
and they tried to go for help. The road is blocked. He gets out. They've obviously got to go back and figure something else out. And but another thing to watch out for with beavers, zombie beavers, is that if they don't bite you, they are also good at what they originally were good at, and that
Hmm.
is cutting down trees, cutting down a tree, landing on poor Tommy, taking him out of the equation.
Yes.
He is the first college child or college student to be killed.
Yes, and unfortunately, you would have hoped that it may have been one of the others, but because it wasn't one of the others, the comedic factor is growing quickly, is soon to be had, so to speak.
Great line is it's the like I said, the reality of how they interact with our. We have some goofy stuff to happen, but we don't have those little pitfalls that you fall into where you don't do this in a horror movie.
Right.
So he gets out of the truck pissed off because the road's blocked, and like suck a bag of dicks. He's he's yelling. If you think he's yelling at a bunch of beavers to eat a bag of dicks, that's great. That's just
It,
great.
it's funny because
That had me
um,
dying.
this is the point in the time, if you were reading a Stephen King novel, this is the point in time where you hit the crest of the hill and the whole thing takes off on a dead run.
Yes.
Um, and so they've done any and all setup really that they're gonna do, and from here on out, it's just hold on, you're in for a ride.
It is.
Um, so as we said, the beavers were multiplying quickly. They're doing their thing that way. We come to find out a little bit later that not only do our beavers are they zombeavers, right? They're dead beavers, but they indeed turn whatever they bite into, as my friend Chris says,
A werebeaver.
a beaver. Exactly.
Um,
Um,
we've had these moments where, obviously, Buck has been bit. So
yes.
we've set up the seeds here for what's going to happen next. So he gets back to the house, has to tell Mary that the boyfriend that she just found out that she had cheated on is dead. They got him with the tree.
Yes.
Not much they could do. Um, did she meet up with Smith at that point?
She didn't meet up with Smith. Yeah, yes. As a matter of
Yes.
fact, that's
Yeah.
when well, that's when because
That's
Smith
how she met.
is now their protector at this point.
He's come back with his gun and his truck, and has come back to, because he's just of this opinion that beavers are assholes and do this kind of stuff. Like, he has no idea how weird this is. It seems
He doesn't understand that the beavers are being have been
genetically altered.
genetically altered by the toxin. He's just of the opinion that beavers are just beavers, and he doesn't like them anyway.
Right. We've
Um,
gotten a clip of him out there doing the trapping thing, whistling "Another One Bites the Dust."
which I loved that scene. Okay, my wife and I love the TV show Mountain Men, and we love the
Okay.
TV
Yeah.
show Alone. And in Mountain Men, they really go into detail on how um, to set traps. And one of the guys is a expert beaver trapper.
Hmm.
So it's really funny. You see him. I don't know if you noticed this or not, but when he set the first trap, right, and he starts to walk off, and he's whistling, another one bites the dust. As he covers it up, he turns around and steps in the
He
exact
steps right
spot,
on it.
in the
Okay,
exact
I'm glad you
spot.
caught that too, because I was watching, I was flipping through today, just some scenes, and I'm like, this guy just stepped on it. He made a big thing about hiding it and sprinkling stuff, and then stepped on it, and walked away.
And walked away. I was laughing. So I was like, "Oh my god, that is so
That
funny."
was done on purpose, and thank you for that, because it was funny picking it up.
Yeah.
Um,
And
fun.
it was one of those things that if you weren't paying attention, you wouldn't have seen it.
Right.
So thank you. Yeah, again, thank you. Thank you, Rex Lynn. That was just a fantastic little spot.
Right.
Um, and he's back with them now. He's got basically Zoe with him, and he's trying his best to protect her and get himself out of this situation. Um,
Yeah. We've got the we've got our friend Mary, who is upset and goes to bed.
mhm.
um, and is met there by Jen, who very seductively crawls on top of Mary in the bed.
Yes.
And you're like, of course this is going to happen. It's a horror
Right.
movie.
Yeah, it's a cheap knockoff of a horror
Cheap
movie, so you know
knockoff
this is
of a
bad.
horror movie, of course, is going to be some girl on girl. Okay, like their friend, not sure why they cheated on her. Okay, whatever. Crawling on top of her, and really hits you with a loop because didn't see it coming. Um, as Mary's on the underneath saying, I don't think of you that way. I love you, and I'm sorry. We have our werebeaver.
Yes,
She
she opens her mouth and you see those teeth.
They just come wrecking out the claws, and she's on top of Mary trying to bite her, and Mary's kicking her off and trying to get out. I love how the fact that Mary goes from being upright to starting to hunch to go to all fours.
And the fact that she's in the room beating her tail on the floor to signal the other beavers. Oh my
Oh
god.
no, like it's
It's
she's
horrible.
in there. We've got Smith out there with the gun with Zoe. We've got Mary screaming now because we've lost our second friend to turning to, like the song says, if you get bit by a zombiever, you become a zombiever.
Yes.
Um, and as they're trying to escape, or once again and figure this out, our boy Buck has turned and pops up behind Smith and proceeds to eat his face off,
Yes.
and then lift him up again in a very weird position over top of his head,
Somehow turns him upside down where he's looking at him face to face while
eating
Smith is
while
upside
eating him.
down.
Zoe gets the gun, shoots Smith through the eye. So, okay, and you know,
Okay. Director choice number two. She's very clearly carrying what looks like a 30-06
yeah,
that
I have
she's
one very close to it.
that she's pumping like a shotgun.
Yeah, well, I actually have a pump action '06.
Really?
So yes, Yeah,
Okay, so growing up around guns, I had never seen that. I just thought to myself they were telling her to fake it and just,
yep. No, I have a pump action '06, so very believable.
Okay,
I
okay,
will
then
take
I
it.
then I stand corrected, and
But
you ruined my fun for
no, no,
laughing
no,
at it.
no. But I will not take all the fun because she shoots until she pumps, and we don't get any more shots. She's out of bullets. She throws the gun on the ground and
Yes.
decides to throw herself out the second floor window. That was the viable option. Okay.
Okay.
Um, Jumps out the window, lands on the ground. She's laying there. We don't know.
Yeah.
Um, we've got beavers that are trying to get to Mary that are in there. I love the fact that the one beaver goes over to the electrical outlet, bites the cord to catch
Yes.
himself on fire in order
Yes.
to set the house on fire.
There was a line that happened in the cabin before this would she's like, "Do you think that that they've disconnected the phones on purpose?" And he goes, "Beavers. They ate things. That's what they do."
They do. And of course, you get a shot of the phone lines that were definitely clawed apart by what could only be beaver claws.
Yes, and he's like, "They would probably would eat that too, probably." Yeah.
Right.
And she's
Right.
like, "But they disconnected the phone at the other house too." Oh my god, so good.
Um,
Anyway, I'm sorry,
we
go
have
ahead.
a nosy neighbor that had approached the girls in the beginning. Um, Before Smith dies is a great thing where he walks into the room and the nosy neighbor's somehow laying in the bed as a werebeaver already.
Yes,
And
yes.
he's like, well, that's fucked up.
He just turns around and walks back out and shuts the door.
Great moment. So Mary fights the nosy neighbor, gets out to find that Zoe's still alive.
Yes.
They get in the truck that Smith left for them. They're trying to get away. Um, some great banter back and forth between the two of them on trying to escape.
This is
You
where we
could say,
get to see our bear beaver.
yeah.
I
Right before that, though, as they're
Yes.
trying to drive away, before they get to where everything's stuck, uh, Smith is now a Zombeaver who has a gun,
Yeah.
who
Oh, I forgot about that.
reloads the gun. So not only is he a Zombeaver, but he's a Zombeaver that knew enough to put more bullets in the gun
So funny.
and
So
uses a gun. I don't know. I don't ask questions.
Oh, yeah, yeah. This is definitely a movie you don't wanna ask questions about because you're not gonna get answers.
Toxic waste, man. Anything could happen. Anything.
So while he's shooting it, they wreck the truck into headfirst into a tree. This is where you get to see the bear beaver. I laughed so hard because
Yeah.
Zoe looks out the window. She's like, "What the hell?" And you see this huge grizzly bear with
Oh,
with
with
the
beaver
beaver
teeth.
teeth. And the glowing eyes. I
I mean,
was rolling at this point.
hilarious.
Oh my
Hilarious.
god. So, literally like holding myself laughing because I was like, this is just
And it
this.
doesn't help that they're in the car freaking out and they're trying to get away and they can't get away
Mhm.
and they're trying to back up and what is this truck covered in honey?
Oh my
Okay.
god. Okay,
Uh,
we'll move on.
Thanks for stopping by, Gap. And we've got Don in the chat. What's
I
happening, brother?
I saw that, Don. I am so appreciative for you stopping by. You are a member of the Talking Dead. Thank you for being here.
And so the two girls finally get the truck in gear and take off. Um, and we've got, as they're driving down the road, beavers chewing trees. The trees are coming down and just barely missing the truck. But it's
There's a
not
scene
just a beaver, it's a Zombeaver and a
and
werebeaver.
the werebeaver together
The
gnawing on the
hus-
tree. I
the,
laughed. I was
the
like, "That's
nosy
perfect."
neighbor's husband is now a Zombeaver chewing on a tree. And they looking at each other. He's looking at this puppet. Like,
Whatever.
Yes.
Ah,
Um, we get to where the road is blocked and they've got to go from there. They got to go on foot, Mary. You
yeah.
got to come with me. and they're dragging, Zoe jumped out of a second story window, so she's pretty messed up.
Yes.
Mary's been beat to crap by Jen, by the neighbor. Um, we walk past poor Tommy, who is a Zombeaver stuck under the tree that got
Under
him.
the tree. Hmm.
Um, and we have a moment where, you know, we had Sam and we missed that spot. One of the best spots in the movie. Went right over
Yes.
it. Poor Sam in the bathroom decides that while they trapped in there with Mary, that this is a good time to check to see if they've been bitten. Can't believe we skipped this part. So she's like, take off your shirt, take off your pants, get naked. She wants to make sure he was not bitten.
Which, to be honest with you, but kind of makes sense, right?
Okay, so he's naked. Um, Nothing there. So he's like, your turn. So, she loses the this, and she only gets down to her bra and panties where, she's got some marks on her side. And he's like, what's that from? She starts kissing him. They start having sex while the beavers are burning the place down.
Yes,
And
because
chewing
that's what you
through
would do.
the entire house. Anything made of wood has now been chomped up, and they're having sex. To the point where she gets off of her. They break up for a second because what's going on? You
Yeah,
smell that?
I smell smoke.
It smells smoke. And just in time for Jen the werebeaver to bust through the door and
It
start
bites.
snacking on the closest thing, which would be Sam's junk.
And she bites it right off.
And we're left
She,
with the stringy jiggly bits left over,
yes,
watching as
yeah.
she ate his penis. Oh, I can't believe she did the thing.
And here's the thing. As a guy, you would think you'd be going, "Oh my god!" No, it was I was laughing
Dying.
myself.
I can't believe we skipped this part because it was it's so funny where he's just like, and she's munching away. Mary's screaming, trying to get past them and get away from. Oh, it's just awesome.
And it's so funny because literally, the sound effects sound like.
The only real thing is the actors, their screams.
Uh-huh.
Other than that, we went low budget, and good for them for going low budget because
Oh my
it
god, yeah.
still just works.
They leaned
Um,
into it very well.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we go out and find out there are hundreds of beavers. Obviously these beavers are attacking everything, and everything that is attacked and not completely devoured turns into a zombiever. So now we're back to Mary and Zoe are the only ones that are escaped.
They're the only ones left.
They're
They are our
slowly.
final girls.
They are. They're limping down the road, and we just gotta go around this and just keep going. And Mary decides at this point she knows that Zoe's been bit. She's
Right.
covered in blood and scratches and stuff.
Has to be.
Zoe's trying to explain. I jumped out a window. This happened from that.
Yeah, and
Not
she
being
Mary's got a gun on her that she
yeah.
took out of the truck.
Found in the glove compartment. Has a gun. Zoe's arguing, don't shoot me until I turn because I'm telling you, I'm not a werebeaver. If you
It'll
don't,
be
I'm a murderer. You'll be a murderer.
You'll be a murderer, right? Which is actually, I watching that scene, I was thinking to myself, has anyone ever really said that in any other horror movies that I could remember? And I don't remember that,
Not very
of them.
often that you hear that. I think if maybe a couple times in horror movies that they bring to light that if I'm not the monster,
Right.
then you're just
How are you going to feel if I'm not the monster? Right. But it was literally like, like two friends really going, dude, don't do this. I don't,
right,
you don't want my blood on your hands,
right,
which I was like, okay, this one of the few scenes where they're talking to each other, I'm buying it.
right,
Right.
right. And right at the last second, uh, Mary kind of slumps, and you think she's gonna wait. Nope. Mary was the one that was bit, and now
Mhm.
she has turned into a zombiever.
Yes. And our good friend Zoe, um, plows, was it a pickaxe? I can't remember what it
It
was.
was an axe. Yeah, she
An
had the
axe.
axe. She brought the
Just
axe,
plows her head, it just cleaves it right in two.
and then
Um,
spends a several whacks off screen,
yes,
um, making sure that Mary's not going to come back.
exactly. Exactly.
The sun is rising. The night is going over. The house and everything's on fire in the background. And she's walking down the road, lonely stretch of road. Sees a truck something up in the distance, starts to feel that I might be saved. And we switch to our wonderful guys, Joseph and Luke, in the truck. And Luke turns to Joseph and says, "You see that girl on the road?"
Who is again on his phone. And wait a minute, hold on a
Yeah,
second. Time out. On his flip phone,
on his
which,
flip
as we
phone.
all know, doesn't do a whole lot. And I
Nope.
guess he's texting
Yeah,
someone.
you have to hit the three button 3 times in order to get to that letter.
And it kills because you see that girl on the road? I see her. He
Yeah, I
goes,
see that girl.
I trust you.
I trust you. Boom,
Boom,
smash.
and that's how the movie ends, right?
That's
With
it.
the cartoon explosion, which I thought was a really neat aesthetic choice. Cartoon explosion. You see, like, whatever, and then the Zombeaver
Splat.
logo.
Yep.
Um, and then we get treated to um
Some outtakes.
some outtakes and and
So good.
the song.
Oh,
Uh, Chris and I were talking about this beforehand. The song was fantastic. The song was probably the best part of the movie as a
it was.
whole.
I had to rewind it. I wanted to sing along with it because you get the closed caption and you get the words, and the song is the movie.
Yeah.
Zombeavers. We've got a very crooning lounge style song, basically telling you what's happening. And then, like at the end, I love it. They're like Zombeavers. Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
Zombeavers.
And it's funny because it's literally like it's sung like the theme song to Love Boat, right? That
Right.
Love Boat
That crooning
soon
style.
will be, and that's the way this thing is sung. And I was telling Chris, I said, I think the reason that I like that so much is it runs right into my sense of humor. At one point in time, I was talking with the guys at Sidebar, and I had sent them a video that I made for them of a crooner singing Sidebar Cantina
Right.
in the style of Barry Manilow. So it was literally like, "At the
Right.
sidebar cantina."
That
So
same
when I
style.
so when I heard this, I was like, "Oh my god, that is
Perfect.
so great."
Yeah, and it's great. The outtakes are hilarious. The actors obviously had a lot of fun doing the movie. We have Bill Burr, we've got John Mayer, we've got some list names in there. The outtakes between Luke and Joseph of what they would go back and forth were I
Yep.
really enjoyed. Where he's like, on our way to hit the Arby's to get some apple turnovers. Yeah, copy that.
And
I gave
and
a
and
I got a
and
hand job at an Arby's once, or I
yeah.
gave one.
Which
Just
is it's so funny because, yeah, what they were talking about was really, out there, right?
right.
But the way they were carrying the conversation literally does sound like if you and I and Don and Brady were just sitting in a room together, just having a beer or whatever, relaxing.
Right.
That's the kind of conversation that we would be having, and just that same style, that flow.
Yeah.
So that part of it, I was even though what they were talking about was ridiculous.
Yeah.
I was like, this is two bros just doing what two bros do.
Yeah.
So I
I,
like
I
that.
give the movie a lot of credit. There's a lot of points where I would say that, some of it, while being outrageous, is not out of the realm of thinking that these guys would do, things that it would say, um, being with friends, or being with a coworker. You kind of have that realism in there.
Yep.
With when Mary's like, "Oh, what about beavers? What about beavers?" It's that
Yeah.
teasing stuff that you would have with your friends and stuff. So it had some believable parts, which made it a little more fun.
Yep, I agree. All right, so on a sliding scale, 1 to 10, where would you put this one, my
Oh,
friend Chris?
this was a tough one for me because the first time was funny. It was really funny.
It
The
really
second,
was.
I did have fun. It's a fun movie. It's the goofiness of it, the outrageousness. It's a fun movie, but um, I don't know when we come to the shit list.
Yeah,
Um,
it's gonna be.
where I would compare to what we've already got on the shit list, only because of the caliber that's there
Yeah,
already. So
I will
as far
say.
as the movie
Yep.
alone,
Yes.
I'll give it a 5.5. It's fun.
Yeah.
It hits the marks for a good movie. It's definitely something I would say go watch because it's hilarious. The
Yes.
rewatchability for me is a little down. Um, I don't know if I could. I watched like when I fell asleep the first time. I made sure I fast forwarded through the part to trying to get through it because the rewatchability for me isn't quite there with this movie.
R-
Hilarious, fun time,
Yep.
but once every this came out in 2014, I
Yeah.
believe. So 2024, once every 10 years is probably good.
Probably good enough.
Yep.
Wow. LG says she'd
Oh,
give it a big 7.5. She liked
she
this one,
enjoyed
huh?
this movie. She did. She
And
laughed.
you know what's
She
funny
enjoyed it.
is, Chris, I believe in total honesty, if this was the first time we'd watched it, we
Oh,
probably would be in the exact same shoes she's in. I'll
it
be
was
curious to see if she rates it as high if she watches it again, say a month or two down the road.
right. Let it sit. Like I said, it's they're fun, and I think what it is the fun parts stick out.
Yes.
So like coming into it, I know it. The second what rewatch, it was probably 8 years since I've watched it.
Yep.
Good because I forgot the bathroom scene. I forgot all
Right.
about her
Right.
coming through the door. I forgot the Smith with the gun. He's a zombie, but knows how to reload and use firearms.
Hmm.
Those moments that I forgot. So it was funny and it's fun. It's just if you were to put it on a month from now, I'm good. I'm good. It was a
Yeah,
good time.
I'm with you on that. I think personally, this is just me personally. Um, I would have been in the same shoes that LG was in if I had watched this for the first time today.
Yeah,
I loved it the first time I watched it. I laughed, like I said, hilariously. This movie is more fun to talk about than it is
yeah,
to rewatch.
it is.
Um, I had more fun with you today talking about the shit that went on inside this movie than I did watching it the second time. Now, don't get me wrong. There were several scenes where I was like, "Oh my god, that's
Oh
just,"
yeah,
you know. And
right.
anytime one of those little beavers was on screen, I was like, this is what the Muppets should have been to me is my warped sense of humor.
Right.
So I'm with you. I'm saying 5.5 is probably going to be a fair rating for me. Again, though, had I this been my first view, we probably would have been talking
I
closer to an
probably
8.
would have been higher.
Yeah.
This is a good movie to rewatch again, to have a little Chris head and a little Alan head down on the bottom of your screen while we riff on this movie,
Oh,
and
I
it's
think that would be
ridiculous.
hilarious. That would be
We would
so
have
much
a
fun to do.
great time doing that.
Yep. So LG, oh, good point here. I love this. She says that she can see her point. I can rewatch Sharknado anytime, but I don't know if I could rewatch this that like that. And I agree with you. My statement was I was going to use one on our shit list. Um, this doesn't have the same rewatchability that Tucker and Dale versus Evil has.
Mm-mm.
I can watch Tucker and Dale versus Evil literally at any given time. Someone says to me, "Hey, let's watch." I'll be like, "Oh, I'm game. Let's go." Someone says to me, "Let's watch." Just trying to stay in the same vein, a comedy horror like Shaun of the Dead. I'm like, yes,
Right.
let's go. Return of the Living Dead. Yes, let's go. As well as I do, and it's not really comedy, although it has comedy points in it. Chris and I, either one. You bring up the Lost Boys, and we're there.
Oh, in.
Yeah, we're in, right? So that's where I'm at. So where would you um
We're
where
not
would
quite
you
at the point of scroll that thing like we're on
Mm.
Price is Right. I am
Mm.
I think I'd put it above Thanksgiving.
Uh,
Although I I have watched Thanksgiving Killing more than I've watched Zombeavers. So
so you're saying right below Silent Night, Deadly Night.
below Silent Night Deadly Night, I could also see it in 18th place at this point too.
Yeah, I'm with you. I would be good in either position at this point. I think this one has a little. Okay, and the reason I'm going to say this is because I'm getting ready to say I'm going to throw something back at you that you
Okay.
said. Okay. Um, LG says she'd put it below Thanksgiving. The reason I'm saying to put it above it is because, as Chris said, had Thanksgiving been 5 minutes longer, he would have not liked the movie at all.
That's true.
It would
Had
have
this one
ruined the
been
movie.
5 minutes longer, I probably would have laughed 5 more minutes.
Exactly, and that's where I was saying it's because is it anywhere near as good as Frankenhooker? Absolutely not.
No,
Absolutely not.
no,
Probably better shot movie, right? More aesthetically pleasing
yeah,
visually,
yeah. Well, I
but
guess,
but the
yeah,
comedy of the two, one wears thin where one doesn't.
right. It's funny. It's a good watch. Like I said, the rewatchability is where it kills me on my rating and where we put it on the shit list. Sometimes
Yes.
hilarious, intentionally tasteless. Put it at number 17.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think we're going to lock that in at 17. All right, so we're at an hour and 10 minutes. We generally try to stay under 105 or 115 if we can. So we're going to, Chris and I are going to veer off of Zombeavers for a little bit, and we're going to tell you a little bit about our thoughts, if you will, on this up and coming, what could be wonderful or could be a catastrophe, The Crow. Um, Chris, please tell them what you told me, and then I'll turn around and give you my backing on that.
Right. So I've known for a while that they were remaking The Crow. My original thoughts on this was I was a little upset. It is one of those movies that I despise the fact that there are great ideas out there that could be taken from, you know, from anybody that's putting out smaller films, smaller production films. That why must we remake almost perfect movies? I mean,
Yes,
or very very iconic movies.
yes,
When you remake them, you change everything. Disney did it with Aladdin, putting Will Smith in it. I refuse to watch the Will Smith version. Robin Williams was the genie, and
absolutely,
I don't. It might be a great movie and people enjoy it. I don't want any part of it
exactly.
because that's who I see it as. So, Brandon Lee, this film, the actors in it, iconic. So we
Yep.
heard that they were remaking it. I hear that Bill Skarsgård is going to be playing Eric Draven.
Yes.
I'm a big fan of Bill Skarsgård. Loved him in It. Great side by side. I have a feeling that we're getting a Crow for. I could see myself in the '90s relating to that Eric Draven, the dark, the you know the beginnings of emo, the beginnings of
Hmm.
that alt culture when it comes to melancholy is beautiful.
Right.
And I hear that the showrunner of this new movie with Bill on the side there, it wants to stay true to that. And after reading it, I feel like maybe this could be enjoyable.
Yep.
But you have some huge shoes to fill.
Yes. And this is where I get to step in and say, I've read a lot of the same things apparently that you have. The director literally said, he wants this new version of The Crow to be for those children of the 90s so that they'll look at them and go, you know what, I see how I felt during that time frame, and I see that in this character, which is totally fine because as someone from the 80s, I saw a lot of my angst in Brandon Lee's character.
Mhm.
My problem is, and, personally, is that I loved Brandon Lee before this movie. I've told Chris this before we went on the air. A
Mhm.
lot of people know that I love martial arts films. Dig, really, really dig, especially like the old Shaw Brothers and Golden Harvest and that whole. I used to collect them. At one point in time, I had like 40 some odd movies. I had Jet Li's Once Upon a Time in China before it was released in the US, that kind of thing.
Right.
Um, and I also studied martial arts. And at the time I was studying Wing Chun, which is the system that Bruce Lee studied originally and built his Jeet Kune Do on. And so when I was watching Rapid Fire with Brandon Lee and I'm seeing him actually using the martial arts that I was studying on film, which is something I'd never seen before, I absolutely fell in love with this guy to the point that when the credits rolled in The Crow and I was in the theater, I was in tears.
Oh,
I literally had tears running down my cheeks because I turned and looked at my friend who went to see it with me, and I said, "We will never, ever have this brilliance again."
it
Um,
very
this
reminiscent of Heath Ledger and the Joker.
exactly,
That
exactly.
perfect performance
Mhm.
that was their last.
And so when I heard that they were redoing The Crow, I immediately, of course, as a gut reaction, I immediately was like, "No, we don't need this." And to be honest with you, as it stands right now, we don't need this. This is how I feel.
Yeah.
Okay? Again, feel. Had they come in and said, "Hey, this is a," they should have Halloweened it.
Yeah.
The first one's still canon.
Right.
Everything else doesn't count.
This is a new
Here's the
story.
sequel.
This is Derek Raven. You know.
Right. Or
uh,
or whatever. This is
yeah.
a continuation or whatever. And I would have been like, "Fuck yeah, let's go. Let's do it."
Yeah.
You don't need to
Another
replace
another retelling of the source material.
exactly.
It's the graphic novel is where this starts. That character,
Mhm.
and in a pre-Marvel world in the '90s with movies, this was a gem uh, to take something from comic books and put it on screen in the way that they did it.
Yep.
The soundtrack is unstoppable on this. It is one of the best soundtracks for movies.
Yeah.
It hit with the '90s of the time with STP. It brings in the overall feeling of just dread and woe, bringing the cure.
Yep.
We have the soundtrack is amazing.
Yep.
And it is an iconic movie of the '90s, bringing the songs and the music of the '90s, bringing the one of the greatest actors of the '90s in Brandon Lee.
Yeah, and I will say this. Chris and I both talk highly about the movie Lost Boys.
Yeah,
The soundtrack for The Lost Boys was brilliant for the movie The Lost Boys.
yeah,
The soundtrack for The Crow
hmm
was the brilliant soundtrack for the movie The Crow.
perfect.
They both hit it right on the head.
Yeah,
Um, so yeah, God rest Brandon Lee.
yeah,
Even all these years later, just talking about him still makes me want to bring a tear to my eye because
it does.
I mean, it was such a tragic thing that happened, and luckily, up until the most recent uh, issue they had in Hollywood with a shooting on set, um, what happened with Brandon changed the way things were done. And
Yeah.
that's a good thing.
Michael
And
Massey never forgave himself
oh no,
for that. He disappeared for a while,
long time.
and
Yep,
put him in a dark place,
yep,
because this is what brought on set armorers, that that their job is important. If you're going to bring a replica, which is what they're supposed to be using now, or replicas, not actual firearms.
right.
Um, the importance of this is because a blank was there, but what had happened is that um, something was stuck in the end of the barrel from the last shot, and that blank forced that out. It wasn't a bullet that got him. It
They,
was.
they they used three types of shells at that point in time.
Hmm.
They for close up, they used it was a live round that was highly depleted and gunpowder. It was just enough to have something come out the end of the barrel so that when they're showing a close up of it, you could see the flash and see something, quickly come out. Well, what had happened was they had dismissed the guy who was supposed to be checking that, the armorer at the time, and
Hmm.
they put a blank which has the exact same amount of powder as a live shell in behind that, when in the scene before, that piece that was supposed to come out didn't. So it had a slug in the setting in the not in the chamber but in the barrel, and when it blew it out just like he was getting shot with a 45. And,
Yeah.
and that's where the sadness comes, because they let the guy go because they were trying to save money, and the director was like, you know what, let's just get one more shot.
Yep.
So
Uh,
um
so here we are with a remake of The Crow. a lot of us, Alan and I are part of a huge generation of people that are wondering why.
Hmm.
And even if done well, will never hold a candle
No,
to the
it could be
original.
it could be the greatest Crow movie ever made, but like Tina says, we have too much emotional attachment to the original
Absolutely.
because we were there, right? We were of the right age and right time. That not only we were there,
Right.
but we were there
It
in
taught us
understandance of what
taught
was
us
going on.
can't rain all the time.
Exactly.
You know.
What a
Oh,
great quote. Uh, my see, everyone quotes that one. My favorite was, um, "Mother is the name of God on the lips of their children."
yeah, right.
Oh, what a great line.
There's
What
a
a
lot of
great line.
great one-liners in there. The dark ones coming from the bad guys, and
Mhm.
Eric with his. There's just so much good to
Yep.
that movie.
That it they're all dead. They just don't know it
Right.
yet.
Right.
So all right. So Zombeavers, what a great time, fun time. This is a movie. If you haven't seen it, like LG said earlier, everyone needs to see it at least once. It's one of those movies that Tina, if you had watched it and Chantel had watched it, you guys would spend a half an hour to an hour laughing with each other talking about it. It's just that kind of movie. Is it cinematic gold? Absolutely not.
No.
Do I have to watch it again? I've seen it. This will be my third time, or maybe my last time, unless someone says to me, "Hey, Alan, let's just watch this," because watching it with someone's a completely different thing,
It
right?
is.
Or
It is.
or if Chris and I decide that this is a movie that someday when we finally get our Patreon and Discord up and running, that we want to do a specialty and do a riff night where he and I riff it while we're watching it, we
This
might
is a
do that too.
perfect example of a good movie to riff with a friend. Absolutely.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, is there anything else? What are we doing next week?
Next week we are doing
Oh, I know what we're doing next week because we had to move things back. Next week we
yes.
are doing a another wonderful John Carpenter film.
Yes, we are.
We are
Yes, we are.
doing we're going to be talking about John Carpenter's They Live. So if you have not seen that with Roddy Piper, you must. It is a fantastic, fun
Fantastic.
movie.
This is going to be interesting. I think our shit list after watching this movie because,
Yeah, because that one's going to be a weird one for me to rate because
well,
I have a lot of personal feelings on that movie.
I have so many feelings on that movie, and when you look at our shit list, I have fears that down the line people are going to be like, "You guys in love with John Carpenter?" And the answer simply is yes. Yes,
Yes.
I fucking am, and I'm not ashamed of saying it. Okay, I
Yes,
love
that's true.
John Carpenter.
Not only that, but I grew up a Roddy Piper fanatic. If we want when we watch this, I will tell the story live about um, yours truly wearing kilts
Oh,
to go see a wrestling match.
hell
So
yeah!
don't let me forget
There's a treat.
to share that with you. Is there anything? So that's our teaser for next week. So that being said, Chris, is there anything else you'd like to say tonight?
No, I've no. I'm hoping to get some new horror shirts in the mail. I was supposed to be tonight, and it was
Yeah.
disappointed me. But
So
yeah, just thanks everybody for hanging out with us tonight. We appreciate you guys in the chat. We appreciate you guys on the social medias. TikTok, stop being a dick.
yeah.
Come on, man. Like it's a horror movie. I'm not violating community standards. I'm sharing great horror movies with friends.
Yep.
Stop. Just
Yep.
stop. You know. But that's all.
Um,
I love everybody here.
and I need to give Chris a little extra shout out this week. I like to post little shorts every week that talk about the movie that they're covering, and Chris got the highest viewage on his short that we posted this week about Zombeavers. In
Nice.
very close second I was on one of mine, but his was great, and
Oh,
and everyone dug it. And so if you get a chance to go on our channel, watch that short. It's funny. The way he did it was very, very good. And I appreciate it. So next Thursday, They Live, John Carpenter. It is available to watch just about anywhere you want to just pull it up on the internet, and you'll be able to see that. So until then, remember, it's okay to sleep with the lights on.
that bump in the night might just be us.
So may your nightmares be wonderful, and we will see you next week on Great Reviews.